Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from FantasyFootballScout.co.uk. My name is David and today we are continuing our series of FPL team reveals where we talk to the experts in the community and find out who they're putting in their teams. But it's a special episode today, a spin-off in many ways. We're not really talking to an expert. You may know him as that guy who used to have a mustache. We know him as Ed. How are you doing, Ed? We're going to hear all about your team today. Must be fun to join us for that.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. And yes, let me reiterate, you've spoken to the experts and now it's my turn. By no means an expert, but very keen. In fact, for the level of keenness I have, I've got a very poor record. But it's going to change this year. Probably a lot of you watching are in the same boat as me. This is our year. This is our year.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Perhaps maybe people can at the very least relate to you on the level of enthusiasm. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's not for lack of trying. That's the main thing. And boy, we have been trying at FPL for a long time, all of us. So yeah, it's good to have you with us. Well, that enthusiasm that you've got for fantasy football, obviously this season is going to a whole new level. And many people may well have known you as someone involved with Fest. So by all means, talk to us a little bit about that. That's how I first stumbled upon you. And now we have a much closer working relationship because you're one of us at Scout. So why don't you tell us a bit about that as well?
Yeah, so I started Fantasy Football Fest, which is just it's what it is. Does what it says on the tin. That's the phrase, isn't it? So it's a fantasy football festival event that happens on the 11th of August this year. It's happened a few times in London, Waterloo, London. Really good. If you want to find out more, go to www.ff-fest.com. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about Scout and FPL and my team. So I joined Scout full time in about March, I think it was, and I'm the general manager there. So I've got a kind of overall day-to-day running of all sorts of different things. So yeah, really good fun and a chance to get a free Scout membership. That's the reason I took the job, really, so I can get a better rank. So there you go.
Yeah, man. Well, everybody can really relate to that level of graft. Like everything he does for that free Scout membership, in the vain hope that it will help him do well at FPL one day. Only time will tell.
One day. Well, look, as I said, this is my year. I fully expect to finish in the top 10. Not top 10k, the top 10. So
the top 10 perhaps maybe at like your church or something.
Maybe.
that's what my dad aspires to every year. As long as he can finish in the top 10 of the church league, he's doing okay.
How many are in it? 8?
Yeah. I think it's 11 actually.
Okay.
But of course, one of the many things that can help people do better in FPL, especially with Scout as well, with that membership, is the membership. And of course, now is the time to sign up for it. We can save up to 30% with those pre-season prices. Now, people are probably sick of my voice telling everybody what the benefits are of signing up for Scout. Ed, it's time for you to pretend you're in your day job. You're back as the general manager of Scout instead of being some guy joining me for a video. Why should people sign up to a Fantasy Football Scout membership? I'm not going to tell you to do it in 3 minutes or less or whatever. Over to you. It's your floor.
Look, I'm not going to keep you very long. It's just if you are genuinely someone who really likes FPL and is really keen and wants to go to that next level of being able to do your own analysis. So for so long, I've been on Twitter and sort of you just take what everyone else says and you end up with the same template teams and spoon-fed answers. At Scout, we give you all the data to make your own answers. And there's loads of free stuff, so you can sign up as a free member and you get loads. But there are paid versions as well that offer you so much more. And there's a really cool integration with just bringing it out today or tomorrow, I think. I think we're going to might be talking about it with Plan FPL as well, where you can link your teams, your premium membership from Scout with Plan FPL, and you get all sorts of extra data and like team ratings and all sorts. It's really, really cool. Great time to join us, 30% off in pre-season. And again, you know, you might get sick of hearing this from us, but obviously we're going to tell you because it is genuinely good value. I think. I don't think it's you know, there's paid memberships at I think $2.99, $3.99, and $4.99 a month. Different that you get different things for different amounts, and it's the price of what, you know, a cup of coffee a month or something. You know, so I think it's pretty good value, particularly if you're someone who doesn't want to be spoon fed, but you want to get the best data available and make your own decisions. And that's what I'm going to try and do this year, rather than copy others.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, that's the main thing that I discovered that was the biggest difference when I first started using it was I actually stopped really engaging with echo chambers. I love engaging with managers on all forms of social media, and I still do, but more now for, you know, the banter, which of course, you know, you're a big part of, Ed. You know, Gameweek 39 is a classic example. You know, that's what I do in the social spaces, and I used to use those social spaces for decisions, and sometimes would end up, as you say, with the same team as everybody else, or perhaps maybe going, you know, that was the wrong decision, but I didn't really feel like I took responsibility for that. I just kind of copied someone else. When you have access to all of that data and it flows in front of your eyes like the Matrix, you can make your own decisions. And then if you can just isolate your decisions from kind of everybody else, that is always going to help benefit you. And yeah, if it wasn't for Scout membership, I wouldn't have learnt that skill set, and it is huge. So yeah.
Well, there's a movement in the community. Just to finish this, we're not going to shove this in your ears too much longer. Don't worry. But just to finish this, there's a movement in the community and in Twitter and on these websites that do fantasy football scout stuff to automate stuff as much as possible, make it run by AI, and make it tell you what transfer to do, and like just give us your team ID and we'll tell you every optimal transfer. And it's like that's of course that's great if you want that. Brilliant. If you just want to be able to plug in your info and it'll tell you what to do, fantastic. At Scout, we like to think we do it a bit more for the love of the game and the love of decision making, and give you the data to make your own choice. That's what I think anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, you get to decide whether we are or not. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed that doesn't backfire. Well, listen, you've talked about Plan FPL, so let's talk about them a little bit more now, because you are officially, drumroll please, the first manager to come on one of these videos and reveal his team via the use of Plan FPL, which we've stuck on the screen now. So yeah, hopefully the weight of history doesn't crush your shoulders too much. I know you had a bit of a bad back and some bad knees as well after Gameweek 39. So I'll try and go too easy on
yeah,
you
I've got the knees of a sort of 70-year-old. Yeah, but anyway.
But yes, here we are. This is your team revealed via Plan FPL. I'll run through it for the benefit of the podcast listeners, and then we'll come back to some of the specifics. You can tell us a few more of the bits and bobs about Plan FPL that people can look forward to with their Scout membership as well. But yes, your team. So we've got Pickford in goal, Areola on the bench, Stones, Gabriel, Estupiñán is your starting back three, with Bell and Botman on the bench, Fernandes, Saka, Son, and Newcastle's new signing, Harvey Barnes, in midfield. Also the first person to bring him on one of these videos as well. And the big news is so much money up front. Love this. Haaland, Jesus, and Watkins. That is the most expensive front three I've also seen as well. So you're very much in tune with this idea of don't listen to everybody else. I want to make my own decisions. You've made a few of your own already.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a couple of this. I mean, this is my draft at the moment. There'll probably be changes. I shoved Barnes in there because I've got like a 7 million position there. I've got 0.5 in the bank, so 7 million position. At the moment, I'm thinking Barnes. Barnes got 13 Premier League goals last season for a Leicester team that went down. We all rave as Newcastle fans about Miguel Almiron, who got, 11 Premier League goals? 12? He got less than Barnes, and Barnes got relegated. So Barnes is going to have that, attacking midfield left position pretty much nailed for Newcastle. Really exciting. 6.5 million. Maybe I'll start with him. I mean, Newcastle's opening fixtures are pretty tricky. We've got Villa at home, which I think we'll do all right in, although we just played them in a friendly and drew 3-3. It was like a basketball match over in America. But then we've got City away and then Liverpool at home. So maybe that'll change having Barnes. You can see I've got Botman on the bench because the first few fixtures aren't great, but getting a starting defender for 4.5 million who was in the joint best defence last season, I think that's maybe even a first. I don't think that's ever happened before. So he's in my team. I could wait 3 weeks and get him when everyone sells him because they're disappointed with the results. But yeah, those are my Newcastle representatives. And up front, yeah, I always want to pick three strikers. My initial thoughts when I saw the pricing come out was let's get Haaland, Kane and Nkunku and let's just work out the rest. But that is tricky when you've got Kane and Haaland. And Nkunku, someone's still on my radar. Watkins could turn into Nkunku. I had him in Champions League fantasy football last season and he was exceptional and he's such a good player on his stats. But we've had this before from players coming from the German league, Werner, Havertz, all these people who we think are going to be incredible and then a bit flat. So I think it's a bit of a wait and see with Chelsea potentially because I've got no Chelsea players. But yeah, that's my team.
Yeah, no, it's looking good. I mean, there was one slight disappointing thing in terms of how this all planned out. We were going to do this video, I think, about a week ago, and you had Kane in your team, and I made a thumbnail for the video. Like, you were the first person I'd seen with Kane, and it was like, whoa, this guy's got Kane. Then, of course, you were unwell, and we weren't able to do the video when it was, and you've now changed it. So I do just want to come back on Kane, because I was hoping to make a bigger deal out of him. I am determined to talk about him.
I'm still very, very open to the idea of having Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Possibly the most consistent player last season in the whole game. I know he costs a lot, but he just was getting a goal every week. Whereas Haaland were like 3 goals here, 3 goals there, 3 goals there, and he'd have little spells of maybe not scoring. Kane was just like every week, which is goal, 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 goal. It was quite incredible.
I mean, obviously, it's all dependent on what happens with this Bayern Munich situation, which seems to be developing. But I mean, I still kind of feel like there's a way for him to stick around. I mean, I'm got to be honest. I don't know why he'd want to go to another country because the man behind you, of course, and for the podcast
to win something.
Well, I guess. No, I mean, I guess, but that record, Alan Shearer, the shirt is behind you. It's not quite a John Lundstrom, but we'll let you have it. I don't know. I just feel like he would have loved to have a crack at breaking that record. I mean, do you think that could potentially still sway him?
It'll definitely be part of it, I'm sure. But I think it comes down to what do you think is more important to be to have that record that, you know, someone else will probably break. Haaland will probably break Kane, and, you know, if he stays around, or to have a 4 Bundesliga titles and maybe, you know, a chance at winning the Champions League with them and winning 5 different cups in Germany, you know, when he's won nothing so far. So, you know, even Shearer, he'd won the Premier League, so he at least got that. Kane isn't going to get anything at Tottenham unless suddenly Pochettino is going to do something magic. Not Pochettino.
Postecoglou.
Postecoglou.
They're very interchangeable. Like, everybody's making this mistake.
Postecoglou is going to do something absolutely exceptional. Then, you know, I mean, he'll double his wages. He'll go to almost a certainty to win a title. I guess it's down to him, isn't it? And what he values more, the Premier League record, or I mean, Shearer is going to be loving it if he leaves.
He'll be very happy.
No. And I would just like to say, Shearer scored 28 league goals before the Premier League even started. So,
wait, what do you mean? I didn't know there was any football before the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And there certainly wasn't any fantasy. So, well, I mean, there was, but you had to read a newspaper for it. So, yeah. Let us know in the comments if you're one of those people that played it in a newspaper. For now,
I did. I did.
Oh, then send us a comment, Ed.
Telegraph newspaper. I remember doing it when in about 97, 98 or something. And I used to have to send off your transfers. I did it with my dad and then wait for it back. And yeah, the good old days. Everything's too instant now. I want to wait 2 weeks to find out whether I've got Kane in my team. And, you know.
Did you finish in the top 10 back then?
I doubt it very much. I think I just did the normal thing of playing for about 10 weeks and then running out of stamps.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good job we don't have to worry about that anymore. And we'll, as we said before, an array of different tools that we can do to help optimize our team. So we've talked about Kane for perhaps too long because he's not actually in your team right now. Let's go into some more specific. I'll tell you what, we've been asking everybody, no Salah, you know, why? I mean, that movement is starting to crumble a tiny bit because we've seen Salah get involved in a lot of goals in pre-season. Can you see yourself switching to a Salah draft? What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I can. I actually find it really odd. You know, the last 4, 5, even 6 years, whatever it is, 5 years, Salah's been number one, and everyone says you're mad to go not get Salah. You're mad to get no Salah, based on how good he is. And now, for some reason, I mean, he had a good season last year. I know it wasn't quite up to his top level, and because Liverpool weren't great. But for some reason, it's suddenly, Salah's not essential, and don't bother getting him. He's too much money. And I guess that's because we've now got Haaland as the premium price. But I'd love to see, and I know a couple of people have tried it, I'd love to see a Kane, Haaland, Salah, Trent draft. But I have a feeling it's just, you know, you're raking around the bottom of the bin, bottom of the barrel to fill the rest of your team. But yeah, no, I could definitely be persuaded on both Kane and Salah. Particularly Salah's more appealing because he might only get owned by 35% of teams rather than, you know, 89% or whatever it was the last few years. So yeah, I'm still thinking that through as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to know. I mean, I think the more pre-season develops, I think the more we will see a slight shift back towards Salah because I think we'll have more of the managers that kind of turn up like on the day of the deadline, and that's people like my dad, for example, will turn up and be like, need him, and then those of us watching the pre-season may notice, you know, the goals he's scoring in pre-season, and that will bump up. So he might not be as much of a differential by Gameweek 1 as we hope. He certainly will definitely be one compared to usual.
Yeah, you mentioned your dad there. Shout out to my dad who, for the first time, got a team last season with some help. And about 4 or 5 weeks in, you know, I went home and saw him and I looked at his team. I said, "You haven't made a transfer." He said, yeah, I'm doing an experiment. If you just leave it, you know, I think that might be the best way. I was like, right, all right. I eventually found out 10 weeks later it's because he didn't know how to make a transfer and he was embarrassed to ask. So I know, I wouldn't know. He's not. I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry too much. He's not sad and pathetic. It's just he couldn't be asked, I think. But anyway, so this season, one step by step, he's going to choose a team, and I think he now knows how to make a transfer, so he might actually be able to play properly.
Oh, what a guy! Well, he may have Salah because he's just one of the big names, isn't he? Of course. So yeah,
he had KDB. He loves De Bruyne. He had De Bruyne captain all season last year, every game week, even when he didn't play.
Oh. We love fanboys like that. They're great.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I do sometimes think we should have some sort of like dad's league where we all just talk about what our dad did in FPL this week because they always do something quite funny. My dad usually takes like minus 12s just to get someone slightly higher up on the list of top scoring midfielders with no idea if they're even playing. Just like, I want him. I'll have that one. It's very cute. But the thing about not having Salah, of course, it does enable this rather attractive-looking midfield. We've got Fernandes, Saka, Son. We've already talked about Barnes. Let's talk about the Fernandes and Saka picks, because they're sort of part of 50-50s, dice rolls in many senses, because you could have had Rashford, for example. So let's start with United, and then we'll come on to the Arsenal assets. Fernandes versus Rashford, what was your thoughts there?
Yeah, mixed. I mean, I've got money in the bank. I could change Fernandes. Fernandes is 8.5, isn't he? Rashford's 9. I mean, I could change to Rashford. But I've got Fernandes. I mean, he's on penalties. He's been made captain. And I just think United are going to have a good season. I know everyone keeps saying that every season now, but it just looks like they're doing the right things. They've got this new keeper in. It's just, they were solid at the back end of last season in terms of, De Gea got the most clean sheets, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
So I think Fernandes, he just screams, United are going to do well. Ronaldo's gone. Fernandes hopefully back in his kind of favoured position, and he's captain. Is he going to step up and go back to that first season we saw him when he got something like 40 goal contributions or something? So yeah, I always liked him. I don't buy into this thing of he's rubbish and he only does penalties. I know he is a bit annoying and shouts at people and the ref and complains all the time, and some people would call him a cheat, like holding onto the ball, not giving it back and all that sort of thing. But no, I quite like him, and I think he's a good player. I think it's madness to call him not a good player, and he just always delivers. He's been pretty consistent in FPL for 3 years now, whatever it's been. So I'm going Fernandes at the start. That might change to Rashford, but I think the current plan is Fernandes for the first few games. If Rashford is starting through the middle up top, then I'll change to him. But it looks like United are after a striker. This Højlund. It's not quite Haaland. It's like the home bargains version of Haaland. They've gone for.
Yeah.
And
they've asked their mum, can I have a Haaland? It's like, you've got one at home.
Yeah,
it's Højlund.
It's not the same. Yeah, that's Højlund. So Fernandes for me.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the United striker situation may have some impact. But I suppose the handy thing is that you've got Saka at 8.5 and Martinelli is 8. So if you need to find 0.5, you could maybe downgrade there. But that is a segue into the next section, which is the Arsenal attackers, because there's a lot of choice there. You've doubled up. You've got Jesus. I think most people kind of understand that pick. I think a lot of people also understand Saka. So I guess it's just, what did you see in Ødegaard and Martinelli that made you not want them?
Yeah, I mean, again, so basic, isn't it? Saka's on pens. But I think in my head, not obviously Ødegaard's nailed. In my head, Martinelli isn't quite as nailed as Saka. Havertz has arrived, and Martinelli didn't start every game last season. I know he did start a lot, and it does look like he's going to start. I need to go to the Scout members area and actually do some analysis on this, because it'll have all the information. There's even a pre-season minutes tracker, did you know, to see who's playing in pre-season. But yeah, no, I think Saka nailed. He's on pens. He's so good as well. I just think I just chose him over Martinelli. I mean, if you chose Martinelli, fine. I don't think it's necessarily a better or worse pick at this point. I just don't think we know. But for me, pens is what kind of swings it. And in terms of Jesus, I actually think, if I'm honest, Jesus is a pick I've gone for because I've looked at Twitter and a lot of people are going for him. I know there's that opening fixture of Nottingham Forest. He could change for me to Nkunku, just to be a bit different. I do like being different, everyone, by the way, and it has not worked so far. So caution advised here if you're going to be listening to me. I'm sure you're not. This is more FPL misery than FPL advice. But so Jesus, I mean, I might stick with him. It's just Jesus, he obviously started, he exploded at the start last season. Do you know, did he get a hat-trick in the first game or second game or something?
In Game Week 2, I think he got 2 goals and 2 assists, and then he got something like 20 points or something nuts. It was mad.
Yeah, so he kind of exploded it, but then I know he got injured a bit, but then he didn't score for quite a few games. There was a bit of a barren spell for him, and I don't know, that wasn't completely resolved at the end of last season, I don't think. Again, I need to look at the data. He did score a couple at the back end of last season, but I wouldn't automatically assume Gabriel Jesus is a sort of a goal machine, who, like, Arsenal's goal machine. Most of their goals came from midfield last season, so I might move away from Jesus. I know he's in my team at the moment, but I might well. I'm talking myself out of Jesus.
I never thought I'd hear you talk yourself out of Jesus, I have to say. Here we are. Here we are. You talked about what everyone else is doing and things like that. There's some really handy stuff on Scout at the moment in terms of like some of the polls that we've been running that might help with that. we asked people, if you had to pick one Arsenal attacker for the start of the season, who would it be? And so the options were Havertz, Odegaard, Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka. And Saka is absolutely running away with it. He's on 69% in that poll. Second place is Martinelli on 9.7%, Jesus on 9.35%. And so, if you're really looking for what engaged managers are thinking, so because if you're watching this video or listening to this podcast, hopefully they're the sort of people you're hoping to compete with this season. It does show that Saka is by far and away the favourite in that position. And so there is still some benefits to that. I mean, I know you maybe want to go down a different route, but actually with Saka being so heavily owned by the managers you're hoping to compete with, I don't know, does that change things for you?
I mean, it doesn't hurt, does it, that he got a hat-trick for England last month or whatever? So
True.
I think people, although we always say, it doesn't really translate too much in pre-season form and internationals and stuff, it doesn't really translate. But it definitely translates in terms of ownership. When someone does something like that, it just rockets. I think Saka is the heart of their attacking threat, and I think that poll shows it. He's on pens. He's absolutely brilliant. He could always, every game he plays, you think he's going to score or get an assist. He just feels like the one to pick, and it's not necessarily based on too much data, because I know Martinelli, for example, got only a few less points than Saka last season overall, I think. And he didn't actually start the last two games because he was injured or suspended or something. So, it's pretty close on points. But yeah, Saka, I mean, the fact that everyone's getting him, this is my problem. When everyone starts getting someone, I think, apart from Haaland, this is ridiculous. I end up thinking, should I go against? Imagine if I go against and he doesn't do anything for 3 game weeks and I go with someone who does, I'll be first in the world. And I need to stop myself from doing something like that.
Maybe the next Fantasy Football Scout feature we bring out is some sort of like password lock, so that if you're going to make silly transfers and move away from highly owned people, you could just pay for it at the beginning. Team. And it's like you try and change it and it's like, nope, won't let you because we put parental controls on.
Yeah, parental controls, exactly. I mean, we at Fest, I know we've mentioned Fest, we obviously, it's on the deadline day, so you're all there having a drink, and the deadline, we do a countdown on stage, and we ask after sometimes how many people made a change in the last 60 seconds, and there's always 10 people who put their hand up who made a change in the last, they've got all pre-season, and then the last 10 seconds they make a change. So and usually I'm one of them, so it's good fun, and particularly because at Fest you would have had a couple of beers by then, so it's pretty dangerous actually for your team to come along.
Very dangerous. But, so great advert for it, of course. I was one of those people this most recent season who did that. I was faced between Trippier or Botman, and I had Trippier and I went Botman literally in the last 60 seconds as things were counting down. Had a few drinks, so maybe I could blame that. Thankfully enough, I will be there this year and I'll be working, so I won't be drinking, so hopefully I won't make so many changes in the last 60 seconds. So
you can still have a drink, it's all right. It'll make the content very unpredictable. So
can't wait for that. That's going to be brilliant. Well, maybe I will change all my players in the last 60 seconds. It'll be good fun.
As long as you live stream it and then live stream yourself crying when you've done it and it's locked, that'll be perfect. That'll get loads of views.
That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
That's what people want to see. They want to see me absolutely miserable. Well, I could do that, no problem. I could do it, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some other areas of your team. I was going to try and see if I could find something in your team that looks miserable so I could do it as a segue. I've failed completely. Yeah. So I'm just going to pick and we're going to talk about, I'm going to point and pick like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's talk about Ollie Watkins. You mentioned him at the beginning. He's on the thumbnail as well. Not many people had him when the game launched. Not many people had him even as much as last week, but he's done fairly well in pre-season so far against a pretty decent team called Newcastle, I think. He did quite well. He's in your team right now. How wedded are you to him?
I'm pretty happy with him at the moment. He had an exceptional end to last season, and he, under Unai Emery, he's been brilliant, and the way they're playing is brilliant. I really think Villa are going to have a good season. I'm worried, as a Newcastle fan, I'm worried that they're going to sort of be challenging us for that fourth of the top four, along with everyone else, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool. It's going to be a massive race this season. And I'm worried Villa are going to finish above us. They look really good. They've signed some really good players. Pau Torres, obviously Leon Bailey they've just got, and they looked exceptional at the end of last season. Yeah, I just think Ollie Watkins to start with. The fixtures aren't bad. I think they've obviously got us away for them. Got Newcastle at St James's Park first, which I think is going to be an interesting game, actually, a really interesting game. We played them, as I said, in a preseason friendly in America 2 days ago, whatever, at midnight. It was on Sky Sports, and I watched it, stayed up and watched it, and it was chaos. They went 2-0 up, then it was 2-2, then 3-2 to them, and then 3-3. But Ollie Watkins scored, and he looked sharp. He looked on form. He just looks like he's gone to that sort of. He's always been someone who looks like they could go to the next level. Do you remember when Villa beat Liverpool 7-0 or something? And Ollie
7-3,
Watkins,
4, something like that. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, yeah, that's right. And then Watkins got maybe a hat trick or something, or 4, and he just looked amazing. It was when they just signed him, and then he kind of just ended up being a bit of a plodder. He'd scored 1 every 3, and it was like, oh, should I have him? Should I not? I'll go through little patches. The end of last season, it looked like he was in a system, a formation, and in the form of his life. And if that continues at 8 million, it's a bargain.
Yeah, he's a great player. Well, the thing is, I can actually take it even further back than that. People may be bored of me saying this, but I first watched Ollie Watkins play football in the flesh in about 2017 when he was an Exeter City player down here in the southwest, because it was a Devon derby. 2017, I believe it was. I was covering the game for Plymouth Live, so Plymouth Argyle. I was primarily there hoping that Argyle would win. They were 1-0 up. At Exeter City, so they're away from home, away fans having a great day. And Watkins had played really well, and he wasn't a centre forward back then. He was sort of an inside forward kind of winger type player. But the whole game, he just looked like the sort of player that just could play at a higher level. And in the last 5 minutes, he scored 2 unbelievable worldy goals to just win a derby on the turn of a drop of a hat. Whatever the expression is, just 5 minutes before the end. And it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen at a football match, just ever anywhere. And you could just tell he was someone who was destined for more than that. And obviously got the move to Brentford and was impressive there as well. So it's quite nice on a personal level for me to have been there for that, like so long ago when nobody had even heard of him. And here we are talking about him as a potential, not quite must-own, but certainly going to be in a lot of people's teams this year as an 8 million forward in FPL. It's crazy time. So yeah, completely agree. He's a sort of player who always looks like there's more to come from him.
Yeah, I was very happy as well to see just before I came on here. I think just went on Twitter quickly and saw FPL General, who's a very sensible, manager, very good manager, part of the scout team, and I think he tweeted something like, "I'm surprised to see that Watkins isn't in more teams." And that made me go, "Get in, right? I'm not being ridiculous. I'm not being ridiculous." Okay, now again, that might change. The other strikers on my sort of radar are Kane, as I've said, and Kunku, as I've said. And maybe even like a Callum Wilson, but probably not. And that's probably just because I'm a Newcastle fan, and he'll start through the middle, I imagine. And he was good at the end of last season. But yeah,
it's good to have players in that bracket, because then it means you can switch them if you need to. Because I'm sure when Newcastle's fixtures get good and you get a feel for how European rotation is going to affect the starting 11, you're going to want to own a Newcastle forward. And I think I want to, and I don't even support them, so that's probably at the back of your mind.
Well, yes, that's why I've got Barnes in there.
Well, true.
6.5 million, wide left. He's not going to really be a midfielder. He's going to be a left of a front three is where he's going to play. So with Almiron on the right, if we don't sign anyone, and then Isak or Wilson through the middle, who will interchange. And as you said, Europe is going to make a difference, and all the cups are in and stuff. So, but yeah, Barnes left wing is going to be great, and then the middle three will be Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali. So yeah, exciting times. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see Tonali play as well. He's not going to be really an FPL pick, I don't think, particularly, but that's going to be really interesting as well. See how he shores up that midfield and adds a bit of quality going forward as well.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing him. And I'm also looking forward to the memes of people comparing him to Kylo Ren from Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen those. He looks Adam Driver in the rain. It's just like Sandro Tonali.
As soon as we signed him, I tweeted that. Yeah, I tweeted a picture of Adam Driver and him. He does look remarkably similar.
So when inevitably there becomes a biopic about this Newcastle team, we know who's going to play Tonali. That one is sorted.
That one's sorted. Yeah. And I'm playing Eddie Howe.
Of course you are. I was about to ask who you would be in this vignette of deceit and villainy, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
very exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
There's actually an Amazon documentary coming out about Newcastle next month.
Oh, of course there is.
They filmed last season.
Starring Adam Driver?
No, it's not it's not like one of the, what are they called, All or Nothing series. It's different. It's following like off the pitch stuff or something. It's been a bit vague, but basically it's not an All or Nothing. It's a I don't know, something different, just a documentary about Newcastle that's coming out. Very exciting.
Yeah, for 1/20th of the Premier League fans, it's very exciting. I mean, to be fair, I'm joking. I'm sure it'll be interesting for everybody, because it's a club.
And also, Newcastle fans would make up more than 1/20th of Premier League fans.
That is very true, because we are in a division that has Bournemouth and Burnley and some very small places. And that's no disrespect to them, but yeah, Newcastle does have a lot of fans, of course. So I do apologise for offending the Horde. That is the Toonami. Okay. Right, let's have a look at your defence before I offend too many other fan groups. Let's start with your goalkeepers then. Pickford and Areola. Less glamorous, obviously, than some of the big picks, but goalkeepers, 'twas ever thus, right?
Yeah, I just think, look, I mean, I've got, I've got point 0.5, so I could go to, Onana, I could go to Ramsdale, whatever. But I think Pickford, right? My thought is the process is this: Sean Dyche can sometimes put 7 behind the ball just to get a 0-0, and he values clean sheets very highly, just like Sam Allardyce and that breed of manager. Not that they're the same, but and I think I could see Pickford picking up a 3-4 clean sheets in the first 10. Now, can I necessarily see Onana or Ramsdale doing necessarily more than that? No, not really. So, and the thing about Onana and Ramsdale is that stops you getting another Arsenal or Man United player in your outfield players if you want them. Now, I'm not going to be picking another Everton player. I doubt it. So, for me, he's the cheapest keeper you can get. He's definitely going to start 4.5 million at Everton, who might get a few clean sheets, and it doesn't stop me or limit me later on in the season with Man United and Arsenal players. Simple as that.
Yeah, and there's also some decent fixtures for Everton as worth noting, to be honest, because I mean Fulham at home game week 1 and they might not have Mitrovic anymore. Wolves at home game week 3. Wolves are one of the lowest scorers last season. Sheffield United away game week 4. Newly promoted side that weren't necessarily full of goals when they were in the Premier League last time around. They actually rotate quite nicely with Luton, because when Everton face Villa in game week 2, you've got Luton are going to be facing Burnley at home, for example. And there's a couple of others as well. We've got a whole video on it and a podcast as well if you want some defensive rotations. Everton do form part of one of those, and so if we end up with a 4 million starting Luton goalkeeper, you could maybe do a bit of rotation there perhaps. But at the moment you've got Areola, 4 million. He might be a starter.
He's just yeah, that's why he's there. At the moment I think he's the only 4 million who we think might start. Again, he might not either. I think he had a bit of a shocker in a preseason friendly recently, but look, getting a 4 million, this is how I always do it, and everyone really, you get your cheap starter or your starter, whether it's 5 million or 4.5, and then you look out for the 4.0 who's going to be the starter, and you shove him on your bench so that you've got options, But largely, look, goalkeeping choice is not where the game's won or lost. But that's coming from someone who's always lost, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I think Pickford for me until I wildcard, whenever that is going to be fine. I'm pretty set on that. I think unless for some reason I get there and I think I've got 0.5 in the bank and I'm not going to use it otherwise, I may as well go to a Ramsdale and I'm not maxing out my Arsenal players or anything, or an Onana. Then I think for now, leave Pickford and try and spend that 0.5 elsewhere. Because as I said, Harvey Barnes might change to a 7.0, or I might change, Bruno Fernandes to Rashford. I might need that 0.5. So.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And one area where you have spent, not necessarily spent 0.5, because there aren't really too many Arsenal 4.5 defenders, but you've got a 5 million Arsenal defender, and you've already mentioned the fact that you want 3 Arsenal outfield players. Let's start there with Gabriel. Why him compared to some of the others?
Goal threat. Didn't he score 9 goals last season?
He scored 9
goals. Yeah, I think that's right. Or his XG was 9 or something. So it was something to do with 9. But yeah,
I can check it for you.
He's from the Scout members area, I'm sure. You check that. But yeah, Gabriel, he's a definite starter. He's in an Arsenal team that we assume is going to do well. They've added strength in midfield, screening the back four with Rice, and he does more than that, I know, but he might solidify that area. And he's got Havertz going forward. The team is improving. And Gabriel is going to start. And last season, he really looked like scoring every corner they had. So I don't know why you'd go elsewhere. I mean, I know some people might have gone for Zinchenko. Is anyone doing that this season? I know it was a big movement last season, but yeah, no, for me, it's just Gabriel all the way. And I think that's kind of reflected in his ownership. I think it's quite high because at 5.0, it's a bit of a bargain, really, to get a starter in Arsenal's defence.
Yeah.
One
so
that can score goals as well.
He's currently in 17.8% of teams. He scored 3 goals last season, but he got 5 the year before, so he had 8 across 2. So that's only 1 less. And this isn't.
I think it was 9 xG. I think it was 9 xG then,
yeah.
or maybe 9 in total. It was something to do with 9. But anyway, he always looked like he was going to score. It's like Fabian Schär, right? Loads of people had Fabian Schär last season, and his xG was high and everything. Every game, I watch all the Newcastle games. Newcastle fan. Every minute of them, not just highlights. And every game, there was probably 2 times each game almost where Schär would have a really good opportunity and he wouldn't score. So he's a defender that I remember at the start of last season saying, why is everyone getting Schär? He's not that good. He's not, because he hadn't looked good for a couple of years. It looked like he'd given up. He was on holiday. Then Eddie Howe comes in, puts him alongside Botman, and obviously we know the rest, right? He was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, a defender who can score goals is one of the most exciting things in the game, no?
I agree completely, and you were right to think of the number 9, because there are a number of number 9s about him. 9 shots on target is what he had, and I'm guessing this is what you meant when you said 9 goals, was that his goal conversion rate was also 9.4% as well, which is actually not bad for a defender. So that's what you meant to say, and of course all of that information plucked from the air from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Just it was that quick, it was that easy. So.
Incredible. I need to go in on my free membership a bit more often to find out what I'm talking about. I knew it was something to do with 9. Exactly. Maybe it's just because nine is over my right shoulder.
I was going to say, you got a 9 there. I mean, I'll start talking about...
it's subliminal.
I'll start talking about 7s in a minute with my John Lindstrom behind me. And I promise we didn't stage that. We didn't stage this whole, what does it say in the members area? I'll just quickly have a look.
No, I just genuinely don't know.
It's a completely organic moment and just, gives you an idea of how quick and easy it is. Let's look at the rest of your defence then. We got John Stones and we got Estupinian. Estupinian is quite an exciting pick, isn't he? Attacking left wing back.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I need to do the research. Again, this is one of those picks that I've picked because everyone else on Twitter's getting him. And I know Brighton are good, and I know he was good at the end of last season. So I need to look at the data myself, which I will do before the season is. Just it's 3 weeks away, obviously. I'm going to do this. I'm determined to do it properly this year. But I need to look at it myself and just make sure that what the community are saying is correct. I'm sure it is, but I just need to get to the point where I'm making my own decisions. And it's just, I've never done that before. I mean, I've always gone a bit different, but I've never looked into it and gone, that amazing moment of looking into, I think, I'm thinking about other things that this applies to, but looking into the data yourself and working something out yourself and then making that pick makes you so much more sure than going, I'll get Estupinian because everyone else has got him. So I need to start doing that. So, yeah, I'm sure he's probably going to stay on my team. He's only 5.0 and he was really attacking last season, wasn't he? And Brighton the good and XY, and they've got great opening fixtures, I suppose, is the real reason. So, yeah, I don't know what to say other than I need to look into that. But Estupinian, a lot of people are going. What's his ownership?
Oh, let's find that out. It's quite high. It's 51.4%. It's very, very high.
I mean, yeah, come on.
That's approaching the levels of you being like, you know what, guys, not for me, right? Too many people. Too many people at the Estupinian party.
I might change to like Dunk or Webster, and then Dunk will get a hat trick of headers.
There we go. You might end up with a goal conversion rate of 9.4%.
There we go.
That's your special number.
So as I said, I'm not claiming that this is a finished draft. This is my first draft, really. Well, it's actually like my 17th draft. It's the first draft you've seen, and there's a few that I need to just iron out and look into, and just make sure that. Yeah, that I really do believe in them as picks. Because before, as I've said, in previous seasons, I've got a really bad rank history because I always just do stupid things and just try and... I've always seen it as let's just have a bit of fun. And if I get a great rank, great. This season, I'm seeing it as, right, I run Scout now. I need to represent. I need to at least, get a decent rank and make proper decisions. So I need to look into myself. So I'm going to do that.
You sound a little bit like the kid that didn't do his homework and like I'm the teacher. And it's a bit like, I promise, I'll do the revision. But you don't have to. You don't have
That's
to...
my whole life. That's my whole life.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. It's a psychological thing. I'll talk to my therapist about it later. Thanks for highlighting it on YouTube.
So sorry. Well, I mean, if you've still got sufficient levels of confidence, we could talk about John Stones. Should we talk about John Stones?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, let's go for it. Again, basically, John Stones, he scored a really good goal in pre-season the other day. And he looks like he might be playing in a inverted fullback centre mid kind of role, that weird one that seems to be coming into the game. So he, in his interview the other day, he's always been. I've had him loads of times. John Stones. This wouldn't be a strange pick. I had him that famous double game week where he got. Was it not last Christmas, the Christmas before, where he got 2 goals and an assist or something, and 2 clean sheets or something. And I had him then, and I think I captain him as well. So I got some crazy score from him, and. So and now he's looking even more attacking, and Guardiola loves him. He is playing more forward. He spoke about in an interview the other day after the game about he's loving getting more forward and the positions he's finding himself in. He loves and he's really enjoying it and he's doing really well. It's kind of a similar conversation with Trent, isn't it? Trent's a out of position defender potentially this season. We don't know that for sure, but it's looking like he's going to be playing in a sort of 10 sort of role, maybe just a bit deeper than that. And Stone seems to be moving up the pitch as well, not quite as high as that. So if you can get these players in the best teams in the world, Man City and, hopefully Liverpool are back to their best next season, who are defenders, who are playing up there, then it's just a no-brainer. Just a no-brainer. So he's in my team for now. I'll keep an eye on pre-season. But if it's indicating that he's going to be playing, a bit more advanced, and he's so good on the ball, isn't he, John Stones? Then that 5.5 million, again, it's a way into the Man City starting lineup for 5.5 million.
Yeah,
no brainer.
He was in my first draft as well. He's come out, but I think I'm going to put him back in and find some way to maybe invest in the United defence in some sort of cheaper way. So I've definitely got my eye on him. I think it's not just what he's going to bring attacking wise; it's what he brings to the team possession wise. Because you're right, it's not quite the same as the Trent role. It's in many ways it's now being called the John Stones role because no one else is really doing it. It's not an inverted fullback in any way. Like, he is almost carving out a whole new position, and what he brings to the team outside of just getting goals and assists, as you say, Guardiola just loves, and so he will probably be very rotation proof, at least at the beginning, before the European football kicks in. But before we finish, you did mention Trent, and he obviously is not here. He is not in your team, and so I guess I'm guessing it's price related, but I haven't seen too many drafts without him, at least on these videos. That is so. Yeah, what's going on? What's
so
going
what you're saying is all the experts have got him, and I've come on and I haven't. Right? Yeah. Look, I definitely think that I could end up with him. I said this on everyone, haven't I? But it's just so many good options. Trent at 8 million, if he's definitely going to be playing that more advanced role, I'll find a way to get him in. Whether it's sacrificing Son, I know we haven't talked about it yet, or whether it's downgrading one of the premium attackers to a 4.5 and upgrading a defender, I don't know. But I mean, I was toying the other day with a 4-5-1, which I know a few people have, because there's so many good value midfielders. But then I just always end up thinking, yeah, but strikers, come on, strikers get goals. You pay the money to get the goals. It's exciting. So that's why I always end up with 3 up top. I was a 3 up top guy from the start of last season when a lot of people were big at the back, and it turned out that 3 up top actually became quite a big thing, as the season went on. And I think it's going to be the same this season. I think people who start 4-5-1 will move to having at least 2 up top. But yeah, there we go. I don't know. I don't have him, but I might end up with him. Help.
Love that. Yeah.
Put in the comments what I should do.
So actually, what this video was, in actual fact, was less who's in Ed's team. It was a cry for help.
No, this is a clinic for me. Did you not know that? Did I not tell you? This isn't me giving advice. This is me saying, help me. I've got to get a good rank. It's embarrassing for Scout if I don't.
Yeah, that's very true. We're going to sort of like crowd fund.
Come round me, yeah. Save me. I'm just gonna. It's all right. I've got FPL General on a speed dial, so I'll just get him to help me.
Nice.
Or even though I was just talking about how at Scout we don't spoon feed you. No AI here. We'll give you the information. You make the choices. I'm just gonna message Mark Southerns in General and get him to tell me.
Well,
By the way, everyone, if you're listening, the next FPL Question Time Spaces will be with Mark Southerns on Thursday at 8:30 on Twitter. So do come along.
Amazing stuff. Yeah,
that's an exclusive. Haven't even tweeted about that yet.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
we got it.
The first one we did with FPL General. That was great fun. About 600-700 people came. Amazing. And then the next one with Andy, FPL Mode, was great. I think we had again 500 people tune in, 400 over the time. And then Mark Southerns this Thursday. So it's a really cool edition. I really enjoy doing it, and I think people enjoy. You can just log on, click listen, and then you can choose to ask to speak, and I'll let you in, and then you can ask Mark Southerns your question. Don't ask me; I have no idea. But there you go.
I'm going to log in and ask you a question now, Ed. I think I haven't asked you enough today. It's very like a radio show in many ways, isn't it? Because you do get the opportunity to dial in and maybe give some crazy opinion about your football club. The only people we can't offer up is Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage. Yeah,
we do get some very odd, things happening on Spaces. It's you never know what's going to happen, but no, it's really good. Usually, it's pretty good conversation and really good questions. So yeah, really, really good. Come along to that. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it should be.
Got to tweet about it and advertise it straight after this. But go on.
There we are. Well, we got the exclusive. We got it right here. So thank you very much. A good note to finish on. And before we head off, just another reminder that a lot of things we've talked about here and a lot of the things that Ed needs to go away and sort before the homework is due is all from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. So if you haven't signed up already, make sure you do that now. Save up to 30% on those preseason prices.
I'll come back later on in pre-season. And we'll see what my team's if you'll have me, and we'll see what my team's looking like. But yeah, as David said, the members area, I'm still getting my head around it. There's so much stuff there. Honestly, it's absolutely brilliant, and we're going to be announcing a Plan FPL integration as well. So loads going on at Scout. Make sure you get involved. Even if it's a free membership, just sign up. Go on the site, sign up for free, and you get all these amazing articles written by, honestly, a top quality editorial team, isn't it, David?
Yeah.
Like Neil, Tom, Mark. It's really good stuff. It's like reading The Athletic, but better. So so there you go.
Yeah, they are fantastic, and yeah, I can even just attest to that, having worked with them before. Used to work with Neil and Tom especially, actually, and Mark. I worked with all three of them when I was doing editorial before as well. So it's in excellent hands, capable hands, and a lot of their content helps inform some of these videos as well. So if you've been enjoying some of the stuff we've gone through on the videos, a lot of that's come from the hard work they've been doing. So make sure you check them out, and your free membership absolutely will help you do that. One last call to action, of course, is to like this video, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Scout YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification as well, so that when Ed comes back from his after-school detention, you get the notification that he's back, he's done his research, and he's ready to resit the exam. You're going to need the bell notification for that. So yeah. With that,
Of course,
we will leave you fine folks to enjoy the rest of your tinkering, and we will catch you next time.
thank you very much.